Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Corey Lee. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about always keep moving forward with what it is that God has put in you. Well, how do you know God has put it in you? What's in you? What do you know how to do? You know, always think about one thing that I heard in prayer one day when I can't exactly remember what this was about. I can't necessarily say that I remember exactly what this was over, but it was something that I was trying to do, something I was trying to start up in my life. And I remember praying and asking him, like, well, how do I make this happen? And he responded with, what is that in your hand? And that made me think about Moses. That really did make me think about Moses when he was telling Moses to go to Pharaoh and tell his people to go. And Moses, he started doubting himself. Moses was like, well, how do I convince Pharaoh? And God was like, well, what is that in your hand? Throw the staff down and that's in your hand. Like it just made me think about that whole scenario. I'm not saying that that's exactly how it went, but it just really made me think about that. Sometimes you got to go forward with what is in your hand. What can you do right now that's in your hand? Sometimes it's by divine order that things in your life got to get cleared out, even necessary things. You might lose your job. You might lose your car. You might lose your marriage. Like, you might lose a lot. But a lot of times it's by divine order that a lot of things in your life get cleared out, so that way the way can be made for you to be able to fully understand what is that in your hand. Like, what do you have in your hand that you can use right now? Always think about that. But that's not the whole point of what I'm trying to say here. When obstacles and challenges arise that really make very difficult for you to do, for you to accomplish your goals, fulfill the vision you have for ministry, or like whatever it is that God has put in you to do. Whenever challenges and obstacles arise, you have to understand that God knows. And by understanding that he knows, it can kind of sort of change your mindset on how you deal with it. If you don't remember the fact that he knows about everything in your life, the challenges, the obstacles, what you don't have enough of, what you do have, what you do know how to do, what you can do today but won't do because you're not just not trying. Every little excuse you make, even some of your excuses will sound logical, reasonable. But honestly, there could still be a way, even if you stepped outside of that excuse you made it. Is there still a way? Other than that excuse you have, is there still a way? See, sometimes our excuses is from a lack of faith, right? We want all the pieces perfectly aligned for us to do what we got to do. But you want to know something crazy, though? It seems like every time the pieces are aligned and you got everything you need right at your fingertips, you get lazy. You get comfortable. You start doing everything else instead. But it's like once you start to see that things in your life are being taken away from you, then you start getting for real. Then you start getting serious. And you start moving with a sense of urgency. You don't really want to miss out on those moments right when it's most important. See, God already knew that if all the pieces were perfectly aligned, you had everything at your disposal. You talk about everything you wish you could do, and then you got all the pieces sitting right there in front of you, and then you sit at home and look at TV all day long instead of doing what you always got in your heart, what you got deep down in your soul for you to express the person you are that God made you to be. Every time you got it all at your fingertips, what do? Nothing. See, I heard somebody say that it is not the will of God for his children to live in a lifestyle of lack. That's not what they said. They honestly said something else. But if I say it exactly how they say it, then I'll be like, But a lot of people believe that, right? Oh, it is God's will for us to be rich. It's God's will for us to. But what people don't understand is that it's also the will of God for us to experience lack. It is. Because how can we put our best foot forward if we never really had a reason for why we had to? Right? Like, just imagine if there were never any such thing as violence on earth, as far as what mankind knew, and then one person waged the first war, everybody would suffer because nobody would know how to fight. Why did I say that like that? It seemed like when you have it too easy, you are put in a position to where you don't learn valuable skills that you will have to solely depend on. Other than God, okay? Like, you do solely depend on God, but when you have it too easy, you don't learn skills that you're going to need later on in life for when things are a lot better for you. Those skills will allow you to be able to understand how to be a good steward over much. But being a good steward over much requires skills that need to be learned in lack. You remembered what it was like to go hungry. Therefore, don't let every day of your life be about going out to eat, spending $100 on 2 plates of food just because you got the money and that's what you want to do. Because I work hard and I deserve it. No, poor people think like that. That's why people stay poor. People stay poor and trapped in cycles because they think that they work too hard not to deserve what they have enough money to pay for, so long as that's what they want right now. I know so many people that owe tons of money on cars they don't even have anymore. Like, they were too proud to just spend $2,000 to buy one from their next door neighbor. And they said, no, I want to go to a buy here, pay here, spend 8 times more money than what it's worth because I deserve something off the lot. I work too hard not to. And then next thing you know, they lose the job. They can't pay for it no more, end up in debt, all because they think they deserved to go Hollywood because they just work hard. Just working hard does not mean you deserve anything. Only an attitude of grace and thanksgiving is what's going to carry you through. Remembering that you don't deserve anything. It's by the mercy and grace of God that you have anything at all, including breath in your lungs. And when you think about stuff like that, you be real mindful of waste, especially in times of lack. You don't have room for waste. And those are like habits that carry you through, I noticed something about people that got a lot more money than I do. It seemed like they stingy. I ain't lying to you. Like, they're generous when they gotta be, but most of the time they cheap. They always want a deal on something. Well, what's the lowest I can get this for? It's like, man, the people that got far less money than you do, like, they don't even blink at full price. But like, man, like, you millionaires and stuff, y'all always want the cheapest y'all can get. I just be like, why does it seem like the people with a lot of money, they always want half off on something? But but people that work regular everyday jobs, they'll pay full price for something in a heartbeat. Like, hey, if that's what you charge, I'll pay it. right? But then it's like people that could sneeze at $1,000, bro. Like they can wipe their butt with $1,000. They always want the cheapest they can get, right? Like that right there. It actually made me think about something. I'm like, I wonder if that's how they got rich. I wonder if they got rich like that. Like I wonder, not necessarily if they got rich that way, but I wonder if that's what allowed them to stay rich. Just knowing how to spend less all the time, even at somebody else's expense. I'm not telling you to be that way. I can't stand it when people are like that, especially when you provide services and things like that. And man, bro, yeah, like, you know, but you can still carry a bit of that mindset, but just not in that way. But, you know, what's the cheapest I can get a bite to eat? So long as it's healthy. Buy groceries, you know, eat a bag of carrots for lunch instead of a Big Mac meal with a large drink. I mean, how much is a bag of carrots? $2. A Big Mac meal is like what, pushing 12? Right? Like, what's the cheapest I can get a pair of shoes? So long as they're good on my ankles and on my back and everything like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about stuff like that, right? Like, what's the cheapest I can get my work equipment around? But, you know, so long as I can use it to make money. A lot of those things that carry you through, man. It's not always about, you know, like living the high life just because your father is a king. But at the end of the day, the whole point that I'm trying to make is when obstacles and challenges arise, push through them. When those obstacles and challenges are other people, show them grace, show them mercy. You know, they really don't know that they're stepping in the way of the plan of God for your life. Treat them like people who really don't know that they're on their way to being judged. I mean, you probably couldn't tell them that. I wouldn't recommend you saying that to them. I mean, but you can know what you know and not say it, you know. I don't always walk around telling everybody with a cigarette in their mouth, that's demonic. Like, you know, I don't always, like, you know, right? Like I walk in the store, somebody outside smoking a cigarette. I'm not, you better put that out or you're gonna go to hell. Like I'm no, like you can know what you know and just like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you know, hey, I ain't gonna say no big deal, but hey, like it ain't my problem right now, you know. And when people are causing you a problem and what it is that God is calling you to do, honestly, it ain't your problem. You know, the problem they causing you, it's not necessarily a problem they're causing you, it's a problem they're causing themselves. The last thing anybody want to be is the one who God has to prove wrong. But still get up, be for real, do what you got to do, push toward the mark each and every day. Carry that cross with dignity and grace, and let God make a way out of no way in your life. Sometimes he put them people around you on purpose because he want to use you to make believers out of them, that God can make a way out of no way. All the seemingly supernatural trials you went through in your life, everybody was a big believer in the fact that, man, the devil's out to get you. But then when everything flipped right around, they can't help but to say nothing but, the Lord has had great mercy on you. The last thing you want to do is ruffle feathers unnecessarily. Try and show people as much grace as you can take. Sometimes you just can't take it. You know, Sometimes you gotta put your foot down and get like a little loud with people. Sometimes you gotta respond to comments a certain way. Sometimes I gotta, you know, even delete comments off the channel sometime, because I'm like, the last thing I want is a new believer coming by here and seeing something as ignorant as that and being diverted away from Christ. But when you got a lot of naysayers, man, those are potential believers so long as you push through that naysaying. Don't let naysayers be the reason why you don't get up and do what you do. It's very easy to happen, y'all. I promise you it is. Like, you can have a good thing going and you hear from too many naysayers and you let that stuff sink in and soak in like snake venom. And next thing you know, you paralyzed. You don't have the same drive toward what it is you're doing no more. You don't have the same love for it no more. You start seeing it for as useless of a thing as they can make it out to sound like. You start seeing it through a different lens. And you start to slow down and lose momentum. Lose joy just from hearing from too many naysayers. But you can also hear from naysayers and tune them out, not care. It's all about what approach you take to life, right? Like, if you have an attitude of allowing naysayers to be the fuel you burn with, oh man, you unstoppable. It's about redirecting how you internalize those incoming attacks. It's all about redirecting that energy. I'm not talking about doing some spell or some ritual or, channeling some spirit or something like that, but you can literally redirect energy. You can either let naysayers be the reason you stall out, or you can let naysayers be the reason you push harder. It's all about how you internalize the stuff. That's if you internalize it at all. Sometimes stuff gotta go in one ear and out the other, and I gotta just excuse it. But some people won't let you not say nothing back to them. But some people won't let you choose to not listen to them. Right? All they gotta do is send you a text message. I'm sure you're gonna read it. Right? You read the first 3 words. As soon as it sounds like somebody trying to get smart with you, delete. I'm not responsible for reading every message that gets sent my way. I don't have to read it just because you sent it. Sometimes you don't gotta give the response you really want to give just because that's what people are pushing and provoking for. A lot of people would love to see a child of God step out of character just so that they can say, I thought you were saved. You said you was a Christian. Now look. It's like, yeah, after all the, you know what I'm saying? After all the constant provoking. Now I'm the one that ain't saved. That's crazy. I say one thing after 4,000 things being said to me, and I'm the one that's full of the devil. I'm the one, who need to go get right with God. I ain't saying I don't need to get right with God, but I'm just saying. It's like it's almost crazy how everybody can see you, but they can't see themselves. Like it's so crazy how everybody can see what's wrong with you, but they can never really pay attention to what's wrong with them. Never. But you want to know something though? I used to be that kind of person. And it's a reason why I used to be that kind of person who seen everything wrong with everybody else, but just couldn't pay too much attention to what I seen wrong with myself. The reason I was that kind of person is because I was inspired a lot by those kinds of people. I heard from a lot by those kinds of people. So by nature, you are what you eat. I stopped listening to so many heretic hunters and exposed ministries and look at what Kenneth Copeland is up today type of YouTube channels and all of that kind of stuff. I just started tuning it out. Like, look, If all these pastors want to do false things in their church, let them. I don't need to know anything more about that than what I know. It's always going to be somebody somewhere. What I need to really worry about is what can I do right, not who's doing wrong. Because if you always focused on who's doing wrong, then you're going to be inspired to be that kind of person. And then you're going to bring that same kind of environment into your own life. And then you wonder why everybody's always wondering what you doing so wrong. You know, sometimes you ain't do nothing to deserve that. You know, sometimes that's just what seemed to attach itself to you. Can't help it. You know, everybody's not going to have the same faith that you have, right? If there's something God's called you to do, it might seem like a useless thing for the time being. It might seem mediocre, bland, pointless. What good would this do for the kingdom? This ain't the good thing, right? It's not like I'm doing a miracle or something extraordinary. Everything starts that way. Brick by brick. Next thing you know, you got a house. But you look at a brick, you're like, man, what is this for? Like a hard block? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Crack it open and see if I can find treasure? No. You stack them, you stack them, you stack them until you got a castle. So everything in life is. The Bible says that God chose the foolish things to confound the wise and catch them in their craftiness. He said he chose the foolish things. He didn't say foolish people. Foolish things. There's something you want to do with your life that seems foolish to somebody. That's exactly what he's talking about. He said foolish things. I chose foolish things to make fools out of so-called wise people. It's always somebody that think they know more than you, know better than you. It's going to be somebody that know more than you. There is going to be somebody that know better than you. But it's the ones who really don't know what they're talking about who always the ones with something to say. You know, I remember at a point in time, people used to always talk junk about YouTube preachers. Oh, what kind of sense is preaching on YouTube? God is designed for preaching to be in the church. Don't listen to them YouTube preachers. Not every church got a YouTube channel. Ain't that crazy? Not every church got a YouTube channel. It was the very ones warning against. Don't be listening to them internet preachers. I mean, look, it's gonna be it's gonna be a heretic anywhere. Heck, I mean, you can get a track passed to you at the grocery store, and everything on it is heretical. A piece of paper. I mean, you can find a book in a library, absolutely heretical. A stack of papers. Like, you can walk in a church and it's heretical. It don't matter where you, it don't matter what anybody do. There's always going to be false doctrine somewhere. But somebody always trying to make little of that potentially great thing you want to do with your life. Make light. Think less of. Belittle. Talk bad about. You know, try to make you have a different relationship with it. It's not about you having a relationship with a thing at all. It's about you having enough of a relationship with God to know what it is you want. I mean, for what it is God wants you to do. Sometimes people don't like it when you take something small and turn it into something bigger. It's always going to be somebody with a smart comment to try and stop you. Or who do you think you are? What do you think you're going to do with that? Change the world? Oh, absolutely. Yes, I am. In fact, I am going to change the world. And it's going to start person by person. Neighborhood by neighborhood. City by city. state by state. That's my mission, to change the world. I'm not here to live here. I'm here to change the world. However, I can't save the world. But I'm not talking about change the planet. I can't change the planet either. But everybody live in their own world. Everybody is their own world, believe it or not. Everybody. And if I can speak to one life and change one life, I just changed the world, believe it or not. It's just not yours, it's his or hers. So there we go. That's wordplay for you right there. I just changed the world. If I can inspire my son to make a different decision in his life, that's one bad decision away from a chain reaction that's going to lead to 1.5 million other bad decisions down the line that might affect other people and cause other people to do the same, if not worse, and then might spread like wildfire to others. You know what I'm saying? I just changed the world. I ain't talking about saving the world. I'm talking about just changing it. Like, even if it's 0.01% of a change, that's still changing it. Right? Like, if my heat is set on 73 degrees and I went and turned it up to 74, I just changed the temperature in the room by 1 degree. Changing it. I mean, so when you really think about changing the world, like, what do you really think that means? You flying around with a cape like Superman and stopping all the bad guys from robbing a bank? Yeah, that's only in New York. You still got New Jersey, all that other stuff. Even Superman can't make as big of a change in the world as you can. Because guess what? He don't even exist. So you are doing a little bit better than Superman right now. Because first, he ain't here. You is. So you changing the world, like, you've officially done more than Superman. Literally. You never know who you might touch, who you might affect, what you might make happen if you don't take that first step. Step one. What is step one? Step one might seem like you're getting nowhere, but focus long enough on step one. You look, it's about depth of focus, not width of focus. You're thinking too wide. Think deep enough on step one. Fall in love with step one. Have a baby by step one. I had to put it that way, but that's technically what's going to lead you to step two. You in step one hooked up and reproduced after your own kind, and now you just turned this into something else. I mean, metaphorically speaking, that is what that is. You want to start an online store? What's step one? What do you want to sell? Think deep enough on what it is you believe in this world that you think people should have. Something you can offer different to the world that you see that solves some kind of a problem. You sit back and think deep enough about that. You in step one are going to have a baby, and now you come up with a product. And out comes this product, the baby. And then you raise this baby. You make this product better. And then you release this baby into the real world. Sell it to people. Offer it to people. Give it away. Like, why do you think I give away the information that I have in my head? I give it away. I don't sell what I know. I don't have a Patreon. I probably should, but like, what do I want to make that's more exclusive than what I'm already telling you? Like, what do I possibly want to do on Patreon that I think I should charge for that I can't just give here for free? What? Like, what difference would you get? Right? Like, you can easily click on this and still get the same type of information that can still add to your mindset. You know, like one of the things that I learned is that, channels like this, like one of the things I learned about channels like mine, and the reason why I still get up and post all the time, even though I barely get 50 views on a lot of my videos. You want to know what something I learned? Is that when you feed on information that another person can give you that is actually helpful, you almost start to like absorb that person's way of thinking. And then it's added to yours. And it changes you and morphs you. Right? Like there's a particular ministry that I've been listening to on audio from day one of salvation. I listen to them so much, I literally think just like them, honestly. Even sometimes when God is telling me something, it's in his voice, literally. Like I know it's God because I wouldn't just come up with that. But it's like when I hear it, I hear that teacher's voice, literally. I just be like, that's crazy. Like, why? Okay, I just got convicted about what it is I'm getting ready to do. But when I heard that conviction pop up in my heart, it sounded like their voice. It's like just funny, like it's just funny how that worked though. But it's like the more you are being taught by somebody, like the more their mindset starts to become part of yours. I mean, they can move on, learn, and grow. That part don't get added to you only unless you are still learning from them as they learn and grow. But everything they taught you becomes added to the way you think. And that can literally change the world. I get up here every day because I sat back and I thought this. I have a lot of skills, a lot. And I'm not saying that to brag. Sometimes I wish I didn't, because that put me in positions to where I'm confused on what I want to do with my life. And that was the whole point of why I'm getting ready to say this. I'm really sitting there thinking, like, what is it do I really, really, truly believe in above all things other than the gospel, right? Like I get that's priority number one. Like that's our product. We need to get the gospel out. I hate to say it that way. The gospel's not a product. But if I'm thinking about this business-wise, bottom line, the gospel. Bottom line, the gospel. Okay? But what do I want to do? I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. That's that. And I'm like, man, I'm confused. What is it do I really, really want to do? And I sat back and thought, and I said, I really just want to change the world. That's it. It's not that I want to be it's not that I want to be a cinematographer or a photographer or have a cleaning business or anything. I really don't think about that as much as I think about my purpose. What is my actual purpose? My purpose here is to change the world. That's it. And I started thinking, okay, so now we got that. Okay, you are here to change the world. Now that's step one. You and change the world need to sit together for so long. Like you need to court this whole idea of changing the world. You need to marry this whole idea of changing the world. You need to reproduce with this whole idea of changing the world. And it's gonna form into how you gonna do it. Like that's the avenue by which you do it. Then that's gonna lead you down a direction of a set way of thinking, a set thing of doing. Even though you can do many things, that's cool, right? But it's all for this one purpose. To change the world. Like, you know how many people go through that every day? They just don't know what they want to do. Like, sometimes I talk to my son, and I ask my son, like, so what do you want to do for a living? I mean, like my son, he really into gaming and stuff. He want to start a gaming stream. I'm not that big on video games because I know how a lot of people are, totally becoming airheads off of games. But he actually want to do something with it and not just sit there and just play them. So that's a bit of a different story. So you want to become like a video game streamer. I mean, that's a very saturated market, but I don't believe in saturated market. Not to mention, I really don't believe he's going to stick with being a game streamer. That's just step one. Sometimes I ask him, like, what do you want to do? And he really just don't know. I mean, he probably got a right to not know. He's 14. And I'm like, you know what? You kind of like me. You kind of stuck in that, man, it's like, I know that there's so many different things that's possible, but which one do I pick? And it kind of puts you in a position where you do nothing because you are aware of too many ways. Like you have too many options presented to you. Like if you go to a store and all you wanted was carrots and you see all these different brands of carrots, all these different packagings of carrots, all these different sizes of carrots, all of these different, it's just too many carrots. Like I just want carrots. Okay, I don't want to sit here and compare these carrots to this carrot, and like I just want a pack of carrots. Like which one do I? All right, you know what? Okay, just forget it. I don't think I want any carrots today. Sometimes life can be that way, man. It just can. It really is. But you got to start with step one. I know deep down inside, his step one might start off, I want to be a game streamer. Okay, cool. You know what? I personally don't believe in video games all like that. I still play them sometime. But to like if you want to do this like as a career and earn a living as a 14-year-old, I think that's a good idea. At least you are aware of finding something to do that you can potentially turn into a career. I help you, right? Yeah, but you ain't gonna stick with this. Like I'm gonna help you as though I do, believe you gonna actually do and pursue this. But I guarantee you're gonna be led from one thing to the next. It's gonna start off with game streaming, then it's gonna start off with wanting to come out with your own game. I guarantee you, it always got to start with step one. That thing you got in your hand. If all you got is an Xbox to your name, what can you do with it? And now you're starting to pay attention to all the elements in the game. Now you're starting to just really pay attention to how the storylines are put together in games. Now you're really starting to think, I can come up with a storyline to a game. Now you're really starting to think, wait, I can animate this myself. Let me study animation. Then you find out, wait, AI can do this for you now. You're like, oh, for real? It's always one thing that gets you to another thing. The thing you got in front of you, I guarantee you, that is not the thing. If anybody know, it is definitely me. The one thing you got in front of you, I guarantee you, that's not it. It's just step one that's going to lead you to step 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It really is. And the main goal behind why you start step one you might not even come around to even nearly touching that for a while. Not until you build a good enough foundation with step one. You need to build a foundation at step one. You in step one, like y'all need to court. Y'all need to get engaged. Y'all need to get married. Y'all need to start a household. That's the foundation. Start a household, lay a foundation. Then have this baby, step 2. Then have more, step 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And then those babies have babies and they all turn into something. That's just how stuff work. I originally started this YouTube channel. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. What I'm doing right now here on YouTube, as far as what you can see in this video, this is not why I started this YouTube channel. Y'all do know that, right? I always told myself I did not want to be another stupid talking head channel. It's enough people on YouTube just talking, and it's starting to get real stupid. Honestly, the fact that I called it stupid, that was somebody else's voice in my head. I heard somebody else say that before. And I said to myself, well, I'm not going to be one of those stupid talking head YouTube channels teaching false doctrine and leading people astray and adding to all the distractions in the world that's keeping people from living their real life. Then I had to think like, okay, well, just don't start a stupid channel. Give people information that can actually change the way they think forever. That ain't stupid. What I'm doing right now is not why I started this channel. I originally started this channel because I got involved in filmmaking. I started as a photographer. You would never believe how I started as a photographer. I was first a rapper. Bought a camera because I wanted to record my own music videos. A lot of people could believe that I used to be a rapper. I sound like a rapper. I act like a rapper. I word stuff like a rapper. You know, so somebody was listening to my videos one day and they like, you ever thought about making music? I'm like, I used to. They like, you know what? I can see that because it's like the way you word stuff and the way you come up with things. You would honestly make good music if you came out with music. I'm like, I used to make music. Honestly, I got a song right now that I can put here on my YouTube channel. I honestly do. It's just that I've been on the fence about making music again. I just don't think I want to go down that rabbit hole again. I just can't see myself going through all the struggle of getting in the studio and then doing all the mixing and mastering and like I don't know if I feel like doing all that again, man. It's like I'm not in the groove of that process no more. It's almost like a hat I gotta dig out of the bottom of my bag, and I mean the hats that's at the top of my bag, they fit well enough. You know, I don't have to make music. But I started as a photographer because I bought my first camera to start making my own music videos when I made secular rap music. Long story short, I got more and more involved in my music career. I became a part of a group of people. We were doing battle rap contests. I was the one recording them with my camera, of course, posting them on my YouTube channel. And I had a cousin, you know, a guy I grew up with. I loved the guy to death. You know, he was battle rapping a guy that I knew absolutely despised the person I was. You know, I knew the guy didn't like me. At the time, it was kind of hard to say that because it was me and him that came up with the battle rap station. But it was just something about dude that I just didn't like. You know, it was just something about him I didn't like his attitude, but I like, you know, like I still showed him love because he showed me love and everything. And, you know, I ended up dating this girl that at the time I didn't know was his baby mama, and he ended up finding out about it. So, you know, me and him kind of had, you know, some tension between that. But I mean, me and old girl didn't last anyway, and it wasn't because of him. It just, you know, it is what it is. But so that's kind of like all of that matters to this story, right? But we were still doing the battle rap thing and everything. So my cousin and that guy I was just telling y'all about, they were battle rapping each other. Honestly, these were the rules. If you choke, you lose the round. Those were the rules we set. Like, we set those rules. But my cousin was killing him. Not because he my cousin. I'm not saying that because he my cousin. But he was literally, he was spitting bars, bro. Like, bro, look. He was killing him, but he choked twice. toward the end of his verse twice. And I literally had to have enough dignity with a broken heart, because I was a judge. I'm supposed to be non-biased, cousin or not. I was supposed to just keep it real based on the rules we set. I'm sorry, cuz you lost this battle because you choked twice and we did 3 rounds. Even though all of your verses killed his, every one of your bars destroyed his. If it wasn't for the choking, you would have lost. You would have won all 3 rounds. But if it wasn't for the fact that you choked, and choking is when you kind of stop or mess up or forget what you're saying, and you gotta start over or something crazy like that. And I was sad. But that wasn't the part that made me sad. That did make me sad. But I seen the look in his eyes. And he looked at me as if he felt really let down that I had to tell him that he lost to a guy that didn't like either one of us, to be honest. Not to mention, me and him both knew that his verses was so much better. And he was my cousin. And he gave me this look like, you supposed to be on my side. And I know, and I'm like, but I'm supposed to keep the rules. This is before I got saved too. And I'm like, I know I'm your cousin, but I'm supposed to play by the rules too, man. Like, I wish I could break the rules, but we all set these rules right here on camera in front of everybody. Like, anybody can go back to the beginning of this video and hear when we said this. Now, if I decide to jump outside the rules as the judge, then that would make me unfair, and I don't want to be unfair, right? Like, you should be glad that you got a cousin that would rather be fair than unfair, right? Because if I be unfair to him, I'd be unfair to you. I ain't say all that, but that's just kind of how I think, And the fact that everybody was so proud, arrogant, evil, just everybody's attitude was so disgusting. And it was finally, I can see, this is my circle of friends. A bunch of proud, arrogant, disgusting attitude, hateful, evil. And not everybody was like that. I'm gonna keep it real. Everybody ain't like that. But for the most part, it was just too much pride and arrogance in this whole secular rap circle, period. And I started to see the demon for what it really was. And I went home and cried. I cried like a baby. I didn't even lose the battle rap, and I went home and cried like a baby. Not because I had to tell my cousin he lost. I was fine with that. I just thought he knew the rules too, but it was just to see, finally, it was like these scales got lifted off of my eyes, and I was finally starting to see all of us for what we become. Like, it was like at a point in time we were all kids playing basketball together, and now we're like just nasty. I started to think about other moments in my life when homeboys I grew up with, man, like when we got involved in rap and everything, and people were just starting to change and just become a demon. And finally I can see the demon for what it is, and I'm like, oh God. Then I saw that same spirit in me, and I went home and cried like a baby. Now that I think about it, this story got the same exact theme to it as how I started this video off. That's crazy. I didn't do this on purpose, I promise. I don't even know why I even started telling this story. I forgot why I even brought this story up. Oh, how I got into photography, how one thing lead to another and another and another, about the whole reason why I started the YouTube channel, right? So I went home and cried like a baby. And this was my first time hearing from God. And I was still haven't even received the gospel. And now that I think about it, I did make another video recently about the first time I heard from God. And really, that's not true. This was the first time. But I forgot that this was the first time. So sorry. I might have to go back and retitle the video I made. And I said, Lord, I don't want to be a rapper anymore. I hate this. I was crying like a baby. I want to cry now just thinking about it, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to keep my cool. And, man, because it's really like, it was a big deal to me. I said, I don't know how to do nothing else but make music. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to fix cars. I don't know how to paint houses. I don't know how to do landscaping. I don't know how to do nothing else but make music. I need something else I can do with my life other than just the job I work, right? Like my job was just my job. I always had something other than my job that I worked towards in my life. I don't want to find myself retiring just to die. Like that's not what I want to be. From somewhere I hate to be anyway. I don't want to do that. I always had something else plus my job. And I'm like, all I know how to do is make music. I don't even want to be in this life no more. I hate it. I hate how evil everybody's become. I hate how evil I've become. I started listening to the words I was saying in my music too. And I'm like, this is evil. This is just evil. And I heard his voice. And he said, what is that in your hand? That's crazy. Look, I can't make this up. I did not intend to start this video off with that topic and end up telling this story. But now that I think about it, this is the first time I heard this. Remember when I was telling you I was praying about something that I didn't know what I wanted to do and yada, yada, yada. And I heard his voice say, what is that in your hand? This was it right here. It was this time. Like this story just so happened to pop up in my head to say, oh, thank God. Man, okay, it makes sense now. You know, I thought I was just talking for a minute, but I'm here now. And he said, what is that in your hand? And I looked and I'm like, this camera? I don't even want to shoot music videos no more. That's what I was thinking at first. But then I looked at the back of the screen and it was a nice big old blown up super close macro picture of a fly. You know, because I remember at a point in time I was just playing with the camera and I was just trying to see what I can take pictures of, and I'm like, that's a nice picture. I'm like, you know what, I can start taking pictures. I can learn how to do this and I can leave this rap stuff alone. I hate this mess. I'm not gonna lie, I freaking hate it. I want nothing to do with this at all. Like I literally ran to being a photographer specifically because I did not want to be a rapper no more, and I didn't know how to do nothing else. I pretty much studied my butt off, tried and errored my butt off, practiced my butt off because I wanted to get good. You know, I ain't want to just be good. I wanted to be the best, for real. You know, that's all I did was study photography. Everybody thought I was crazy. I sold all my studio equipment. I had just bought a Neumann, a Neumann mic, TLM 103. Just bought some KRK Rocket 8s. Took all that stuff back to Guitar Center. I only got half the money back that I spent on it. I was that serious. I wanted to run away from rap that bad. I didn't care that I just spent thousands of dollars on in Guitar Center. And then like a month later, I take it all back and only get half the money I spent. I was that for real. I went and spent the money on a nice, good camera. Dead serious. That's how I got into photography. I'm not even lying to you. That's what really got me into it. I started taking pictures of my kids. See, just one thing lead to another thing, to another thing, to another thing. But at a point in time, I thought that my purpose was to make good music and inspire people's minds through good music. I might just end up going back to doing that. You know what I'm saying? I might just end up getting back involved in music. I honestly want to start a praise and worship team. I really do. I mean, I ain't gonna be singing, but I honestly just want to lead the group, like as far as like be the executive producer and whatnot, you know. But that's pretty much how that started. And then later on, I got involved in cinematography, and cinematography is the whole reason I started this channel. Have y'all noticed I haven't done none of that? None. I just been here educating people on like some of the stuff that like you just really need to know when you living a Christian life, you know. Stuff that preachers don't take the time to talk about. They teach you a 15-minute sermonette about 2 scriptures out of context, and the whole thing got nothing to do with your life in Christ. And then they send you home after you done paid your tithe. You know, but just the stupid stuff you hear me say here, like how I thought all of this was to begin with. Just a stupid talking head channel. You know, this is the stuff that's life or death here. Like, this is the stuff that'll make or break a future. For real. Like, just having somebody keep it real with you about how stuff is. You know? Long story short, I'm still working on 3 short film ideas right now. You want to know something? Dead serious. I really think I might end up getting back involved in music, and a lot of my cinematography is gonna have a lot to do with music. All the way back where I started. But you gotta take step 1. You just gotta take step 1. I just shot wedding pictures. I didn't did corporate video. I still got wedding photos to do. You know what I'm saying? I still do a lot of that stuff. But you just gotta take step 1. You never know what you're gonna end up doing. If it wasn't for him saying, "What is that in your hand?" And I was just eager. I wanted to run like hell from the life I was living. Still a sinner too. Still, I was 6 years away from actually getting saved. Still, he was leading me every step of the way. Don't think that just because you don't know God right now, that means he ain't organizing the steps in your life. Sometimes I try and communicate that to the kids in some way, because they be trying to like, well, how do I hear the voice of God like you do? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. It's not like I try to make that. It's like there's no steps to that. I didn't ask for that. I didn't work for that. It just happened like that. Sometimes it scares the mess out of me because I really think I'm crazy. I'm not lying. Sometimes I do think I'm crazy. And then come to find out exactly what I'm hearing is darn true. I'm like, that's exactly what you just said was going to happen. And that's exactly what they did. It's like, now do you trust the fact that it's me and that you ain't just crazy? I'm like, I guess so. Then I'm right back to thinking I'm just crazy again. It's like, man, it just happened like that sometimes. Like, I think I'm crazy right now. Like, sometimes I don't even know why I turned on the camera and start making certain videos until stuff just start getting there, you know? It just got to get there. But you got to take step 1. What is that in your hand? All you got is an Xbox to your name. Start a streaming channel. I don't know if you can do that from just an Xbox, but all you got is a working computer. Use AI, generate movies on AI, and put something together for the kingdom. You know, all that wealth of knowledge about the Bible you got in you. I'm sure there's something you can do to do something with that for the kingdom. All you know how to do is makeup. Do makeup tutorials and then do voiceovers, teaching the gospel while people watching you do your makeup. I'm sure they ain't gonna skip that because they want to see what you did to get that. You know, make them hear it. You know what I'm saying? Make them hear it while you doing makeup. You know, Just like that sometime. It is. I don't even know why I started studying animation. Like that might just be for my son. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think he's gonna end up going from wanting to be a gamer to then ended up producing his own games. I honestly think he's gonna end up going that direction. And if not games, he's gonna be working with me doing our productions. I was just showing him how to record music like 2 weeks ago. I mean, he didn't know nothing about it. Like, he got so into it. He like, this is how you record a song? I'm like, yeah, you do it like this. It's the program. Like, you got to hook up the mic like this. You know, like, this is how you get into the preferences and figure out, you know, like what's the word? Codec, something like that. You want your, something in. Man, I ain't did that music stuff in so long. It's kind of hard to forget, but I mean, it's kind of hard to remember. But you got to think of what it's like, a mini program inside the computer that determines how your audio record. I know one of them is called Direct Sound. Another one is called ASIO. Somebody somewhere is gonna tell me exactly what that is, and for some odd reason, it's at the top of my head and I can't figure it out. But I was showing him all of that stuff, showing him all the plugins, the EQ, the compressor, the limiter, all of that stuff. He's like, this is cool. I'm like, yeah, like you put your beat right there and all of that. And this is how you write the raps. Like you write them like this, you know. Every time you hear that 4 measures, that's one line. Yep, that's one line right there. Like, your words gotta go with the instruments. You can't just start saying stuff over a beat. Like this is not 2025, you know? But y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? That's how rappers these days be trying to rap. They just start blah, 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 blah. Like, just right over a beat. They ain't saying nothing. Like, they ain't on beat. They ain't got nothing to say. I'm like, this ain't 2025, man. You know? But other than that, man, take step 1. What is that in your hand? Like, I know I just been here talking, right? There's a lot of people that just really want to hear what somebody else got to say, like sometime, right? And one of the things that I want to say is this. At this point in time in my life, I'm right back at this step all over again. This is not my first time doing this. I'm right here at this, at another step 1. This ain't my first time at this. Why do you think this is even on my mind? Right? This ain't on my mind because I just got some divine revelation from God. No, this is on my mind because I'm in this right now, at another step 1, trying to figure out where I want to go, and gotta remember all over again, what is that in your hand? I'm like, you know what? I heard this before. But somebody else probably never heard it like this before. Somebody else probably never have. You struggling with money. What do you got in your hand? Like, what do you got to your name? A car. DoorDash. You know? Earn you some money, get you some studio equipment, and, you know, start your music career. You know what I'm saying? You know? As you driving, you can come up with your raps while you're driving, listening to your beats. Kill 2 birds in 1 stone. Heck, by the time it's time to go home, you already got a whole song ready to go. You know, I've done it before. At school, on the bus, taking a walk, stranded. I have 2 birds in a stone. Like, I did most of my photography homeless. For real, a lot of people didn't know. I 4 outfits to my name. Like, 1 that looked good. The other one's work clothes. Every time I got a photo shoot, I go put on that 1 outfit. You know, bag of clippers. I always cut my own hair so I look like I take care of myself. But people don't know. I'm homeless, living off bananas. 50 cents at the grocery store a day. knocking out photo shoots. That was life-changing money. Heck, that $150 for that photo shoot changed the rest of my month. For real. I've been through that. Sleeping in my car. Showing up to job sites like I'm the man. I've been there already. And I'm right back here again on another step one. No, I've lost both of my cars within 30 days. Two highly unrelated situations. Work life, crazy. It's the time to get started on something else. Time to move forward with the next thing. Sometime it gotta be that way. You know? Sitting there asking God, what's going on? Like, what do you want me to do? What's that in your hand? That's what you can do. I'm like, you know what? I could have been doing that the whole time. Yeah, but you probably wouldn't have if, you know, you were just distracted by all of that stuff, all that other stuff you could have been doing in your life. You know, sometimes you got to see the demon and stuff that make you run away from things, that, you know, help you do something different. You know, you might be dating somebody right now, not married, dating. And then God opened up the window for you to, you know, like you got the scales knocked off your eyes and you can finally see the devil for what it is in somebody else. And you like, I gotta go. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I just know I gotta go. Where are you going? I don't know. I'll see you later though. All the clothes you leaving behind, forget all them. Start over. I gotta go. End up way in Chicago somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Just starting over. Don't know what you want to do. All you got is a bag of clippers to your name. You ever giving haircuts on the side until you can afford a hotel room or something? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's a lot of us who've been in situations like that. It's a lot of us who gonna be in situations like that. For real. I was homeless doing photo shoots. Nobody knew. Showing up to job sites like I'm the man. I can't necessarily say homeless, but partly that way, you know. Not by choice neither. I would never choose to be homeless. Ever. That don't even make sense. One of the things you gotta understand is this. It's always a way. Sometimes we got too many excuses. And you wanna know where the excuses come from? Pride. Pride. You think you're too good to not have all the stars in alignment for you, waiting on you. What you want, some red carpet to be rolled out? Well, unfortunately, that ain't gonna happen. So now what? Ain't nobody gonna make you do nothing either. So now what? I mean, you can either suffer never having expressed your real self with your life and help change the world through just offering your real self to the world for the glory of God, never fulfilling your soul, just never finding joy in your life from being connected to your true purpose because you never took step one. Heck, before you know it, you only gonna have time for step one, and you never even reach the pinnacle of what the point of this is. You know, too many is, I don't like the sound of my voice. Yeah, but you sure do love talking. You sure do love yapping. But when it come to getting on camera and making videos and showing people the skills you have and teaching other people something like you were taught, now you don't like the sound of your voice. I bet you if somebody looked at you funny, you would like the sound of your voice. Bet you if somebody accidentally stepped on your fresh white J's, you would like the sound of your voice. And man, but when it come to actually doing something with yourself, well, I just don't like the way I look. Or I don't think I'm good enough. You'll never be good enough. See, that's not encouraging. Yes, it is. You will never be good enough. Not one person who's ever done anything great was good enough. That's encouraging. That is encouraging. Look, what do you want me to do? Lie? You are not good enough. None of us are. We all deserve eternal damnation in hell. How can we be good enough? God is good enough. He's good enough to make a way for you. He's good enough to qualify you. He's good enough to make you a right fit for whatever it is he got for you to do. And he's good enough to fit whatever it is he got for you to do around the kind of person you are. You know, he's good enough to put you in front of the right people. That's all you need to know, is that God is good enough. All them excuses are pride. I don't care if it's a belittling excuse. It comes from pride. Dang. I ain't good enough. Shut up. Slap you upside your head. Talking about all that mess. I don't know. But other than that, man, I got this last little room to do. Oh, I'm so tired of being here. I ain't lying. But I need some coin. Just for now. I got to get me a new softbox light for my studio light. So, got some stuff we need to get took care of. So, I thank y'all for listening. But I hope somebody, found this message helpful, funny, entertaining, something, soothing. Right? Like, I like listening to some channels just because some people's voice is just calming. Right? Like, it's a channel I just recently started watching, and I just listen to it all the time because their voice is calming. It's called Unplug 'Em. It's like a truther channel. I don't know what the deal is with that guy's voice, but I can just go to bed to it. Like, it's just crazy. Another channel I can just listen to all day because of the person's voice. Mike from Around the World. I don't know. It's something about his voice that's just so easy to listen to. It's almost like he reminds me of a character from a Pixar movie, something like that. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Like, when I get there, it's gonna be like, once I finally figure out who he sounds like. And I know it's from like one of them animated Pixar movies. I just can't think about what character. Once I figure that out, it's gonna be freaking hilarious. I'm like, that's who I was thinking he sounded like. Heck, who else? I don't know. It's heck. But thank y'all for watching, though. Thank y'all for listening. My videos are more meant to be just be listened to. I mean, there's really nothing to see. I'm gonna be honest with you, not yet. Like, not in these talking head videos like these. There's really nothing to actually see, But thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope y'all learned something from this. Y'all got questions? Leave them in the comments. Anybody need prayer? I still know God, so if you want me to pray for you, I can. You can pray for me too. That'd be awesome. But other than that, have a blessed day. I gotta get my work finished so I can get picked up and get on out of here. Peace.